Hey, what's up, Beat Academy members, and welcome to the next Beat Critique, where I go throughout the Beat Academy community, find some tracks that I can give my own personal thoughts and feedback to. Now, the goal here is so that I help those that I'm giving the feedback to, but also to anyone else who might be struggling with the similar things in their music production. So, without further ado, let's get started. Now, the first track I'm going to be highlighting is from Max Bonzi, and he won the September monthly challenge. So congratulations on winning that. And if you haven't been a part of our monthly challenge program, I definitely encourage you to do that. It's where we allow you to submit a song once a month, and we select a song at random, and we're giving you a $200 gift card that you can spend however you like on Sweetwater and buy some sweet plugins or an instrument that you've been looking to buy. So it's just our way of holding you accountable to getting songs done. One of the biggest hurdles that I hear from a lot of up-and-coming music producers is just that they have such a hard time getting songs finished. So the monthly challenge is a great way to get that done. So let's go ahead and take a look. Now, immediately, I love the intro. I love the tone, the mood, and where it's headed. And it almost felt mix-wise, as soon as that intro part came in, and the drums and the bass came in, it actually took a step back. And what I mean by that is sonically and fidelity-wise, you know, the intro was cool. It was a bit rich, and then drums came in. They just seemed a little bit weak with the bass line. So I'm not sure if you have like compression going on the master bus. That is probably just really doing a lot of compression, so that when the drums come in and the bass comes in, it's just bringing everything down. Definitely look into that. But you want to maintain that kind of it's okay that if you're building from the intro and then some silence and then go into that could be cool, because then that will be the separator between, oh, okay, I'm going to accept where we're headed next. So that transition was just a little weak for me. So all around, so far I like the vibe that you're at. I think it's cool. It definitely has, you know, that thievery court type of vibe to it, which is cool. And I'm really down with down tempo. It's, you know, all the things from Portishead and Thievery Corp and a lot of that, you know, Massive Attack. So maybe even having the drums pop up. I like the lo-fi texture you're giving it to it. Maybe just having just a little bit more definition from those drums. We'd definitely love to hear a vocal. Not necessarily that doesn't mean that you would always have to put vocals on everything. I get it. A lot of these instrumentals, like the groups that I mentioned before, don't have some vocals on there. But I think a vocal on this would really help elevate, take that to the next level. I like introducing the intro theme there. I think what you can do is, though, have the intro theme somewhat already tucked away in the back during the verses, but filtered out, and then slowly automate the filter to open, so by the time it gets to where it's at in the point of the song here, you can go ahead, open it up, and then bring it back down, so you can introduce that chorus section there. So all in all, it's got a good vibe. Just a couple little tweaks here and there sonically, but nothing out of the arrangement is good. You've got the good amount of time there. Definitely hear myself like kind of vibing and chilling to this in the background. you know, while I'm just kind of chilling and hanging in the house. This is what I normally do. I put stuff like this on Pandora, just kind of let it ride. I'm going to kind of skip along the arrangement wise and just check out the rest of the song. Yeah, all in all, I think it definitely captures the mood. You know, the overall theme is consistent, and that's really good. See, when you're working on stuff like this, instrumental beats and music in this lane or any other lane, you want to make sure that you have a consistent theme throughout the song. It would be weird that you introduce, I mean, this is all minor key here, and we could tell just because of the dark and the melancholy of this. It would be weird if you start to incorporate and bring in things that would bring in maybe a happier tone, or, you know, like a trumpet section coming in out of nowhere. You know, that's not playing a riff that makes sense, but I'm talking about like a big band kind of thing. So it's good that all the elements that we're listening to here are consistent. They play along with the right theme. If you think about if you were to kind of take a step back and think of producing music as if you're watching a film, putting the right scenes together make a big impact on the overall theme of the movie. And so if the movie's dark and it's, you know, it's about this villain, or if you're watching a movie about Venom or something, it'd be weird if it just had this happy tone come out of nowhere and then just step away. And it's like, that really had nothing to do with the movie. So it's good that all the elements and the vibe are all consistent. So that's really good. And I really kind of touch on that point more so for anybody who is struggling with having a consistent theme all throughout their music. So great job, Max. Looking forward to hearing some more from you down the road. So let's jump to our next song. All right, next up is a song submitted also in the September monthly challenge by Tom Warburton. So, and if I'm butchering these names, I do apologize. Forgive me for that. But let's go ahead and dive right in. This song, I think, is called Demons.
I try to run and hide, but he knows where to find. I hear Master call my name, and I'm running back again. I try to run and...
All right, so I like the little intro. If that's all I heard, and if that had to judge the rest of the song, that's how I'm going to base it. And that's something that we have to keep in mind too, is that in this world of just short attention span, we really just have the 7-second leadway to kind of get to grasp somebody, especially if they're not familiar with your catalog. And I'm assuming that they're just kind of stroming on by through Spotify or iTunes or however. So I do like having that interesting intro in there because it does catch the attention. Just gotta be mindful of those little that delayed little thing you have going on after the distorted bass. You have this that thing. Just kind of maybe just down a little bit. So far everything's more of just a sonic mix issue, in the sense that it's just trying to get the right tonal balance here. What I mean by that is just everything, you know, not too highs and lows, just based off of this. But I want to direct my attention over to the vocal performance. I assume this is probably you singing and tracking the vocals, which, for that, great job and good effort. I think what needs to convey more though is the attitude of this. I mean, Demons, and I mean, just writing here, you're talking about exactly the negative effects of addiction and what that brings. I get it. Like if you're not a singer, just like me, I'm the producer. I'm not a singer, songwriter, but I kind of do it out of necessity. I started singing on my own things just because it was like, well, I got nobody else here. I'm gonna take a crack at it, and I'm gonna go crazy on the editing side and getting this thing to sound good, so I don't sound like a dying giraffe on top of a car on its way to the off the cliff. So I get that. So what I want to encourage you to do is it's not all the way there yet, vocal performance wise, so just continue to just harness that and work towards getting better at that, and that's only going to come through practicing. So continue to practice recording yourself. Here's the thing, when you're, for all you guys out there who are recording themselves and putting your own vocals down, I like you doing these monthly just because just do that as much as possible. And what you need to do is detect what's going to be, there's certain elements that are going to really be helpful to find your sweet spot with your voice. So finding the key, the right key that's going to work for you and your vocal. And you could do that if you did the vocal production course. You can I kind of walk you through that whole notion of the right key signature. So for me, I sometimes land best in G or G sharp minor, and even a little bit of F sharp. That kind of range is my range there, even when I'm doing like falsetto stuff to that. So it works well there for my pocket. So you kind of want to mess around so that when you're writing stuff, even if you wrote it in one key, you can slightly adjust it so that it fits best your voice. Also, hearing that, you could probably have, maybe just, I know you have a couple doubles. If I hear this again, let me just take another listen.
I try to run and hide, but he knows where to find. I hear must call my name, and I'm running back again. I try to run and hide, but he knows.
Yeah, and also the production a little bit, drum wise, especially with the 808, you can get them knocking a little bit more. Because I do like the tone of your voice. I like the timbre of it, and I think just with a little bit of just like a little bit more practice and tweaking in that section, you can get a better vocal performance. And maybe, I don't know if you're doing sounds like you're doing another lead double there. Try having 4 leads, a little bit softer, hard pan left and right to get a bigger sound and more width there. And then let's just add some more grit to that 808, harmonic distortion wise, whether it's an amp simulator or some distortion to it, just to bring it a little bit more presence, so that it's just banging right off the top there. So those are my 2 cents there.
Where to find? I hear must call my name, and I'm running back again. Better beats, legally at the door, poor man at the door of kings. Show me how to keep it going around. Show me how to fire up. Show me how to get down. 'Cause I can be so easily manipulated. Just talk me into getting inflated. Bottle set. Enjoy responsibly. I'm not appreciating these objects trying to like.
It's like it's almost there. It's like in a good demo state, and it's gonna come down to that vocal performance. And again, I'm totally giving you some slack here. I know that this is probably not your A game on the vocal performance, but I think it's great in a position to say, like, here's my general idea, here's where I want to go, and maybe finding someone else who can rock that. Or, but I do like if you're, it kind of reminds me that you're like the 21 Pilots kind of vibe, and if that is in line with your artist DNA and where you're headed, great job. I can definitely hear it. It's coming out there. So curious to know if there were any references used in this, and just how close you were being those two there. I definitely like the tone better in those verses in the softer one. This is more of like vocal treatment. So start off with not adding too much of the air or the high end there. So if I were to give this vocal and I were to start mixing, first get a good source to begin with. Make sure that you're not tracking your vocals way too hot. If you haven't already, definitely revisit the vocal recording course and just kind of watch where you're putting the vocal and just the amount of processing. It's just a little bit thin for me. So if it's going to be whispery and more present, you can probably give it a little bit more body there so that it weighs a little bit more in the front of that.
I try to run and hide, but he knows where to find. I hear master call my name, and I'm running back again. I try to run and hide, but he knows where to find. I hear master call my name, and I'm running back again. Little boy, he don't discriminate. Every man's in danger, everything he has to stake.
Yeah, it's like when you go to that section, that comes alive to me. There's more electricity there. So I like that. I think the verses are getting across more the vibe, and then that chorus section there. Even though the chorus riff is good, the melody is good, all around, like, this is good. And what I'm striving to do is help you to get it from good to great. I don't want to just simply say, yeah, it's good, everything sounds fine. There's room for growth, and listen, there's a lot of room for growth in my stuff as well. So we're all learning, we're all growing. So I think all around great. I love the guitar vibe. I assume that you're playing guitar, you have somebody in there a little bit different, so that's cool. But I think overall, I think so much potential, off to a great start. And I'm kind of holding you accountable. I want to just push you a little bit to get to that place. So practicing, tracking your vocals, finding the right sweet spot, finding the right key signature for your voice, seeing what EQ wise, what certain aspects of your voice sound great with a certain type of effect, or what really what is going to help accentuate the sweet spots of your voice. Then you can kind of use that as the ammunition to continue moving forward with putting your own vocals and stuff like that. And if this is somebody else's vocals, then same thing, same approach, just kind of finding and working that sweet spot out. But all around, I think it's a great job. So we'll go ahead and just skimmer through the arrangement to wrap it up.
Need to find pull the moon down, pull the moon down. I can show you how to make the stars collide. Pull the moon down, pull the moon down. I can show you how to make the stars collide.
That's a cool part. I would have probably even used that like in that instrumental break. Pull the moons out, would have probably moved that over there, and then ending it up with the demon, the main chorus that you had after that part. So all in all, great start, a lot of potential. It's almost there. Go back, shoot it out, like rough send off the rough edges a little bit, and excited to just hear more from you, Tom. I think there's so much talent on this forum, so really excited about that. All right, so for our next song, I'm heading over to one submitted to the September monthly challenge, Lean Tran. Sorry once again if I mispronounced that. So let's go ahead and check it out. The song's called I'm In.
I don't know how much time we have. Could be as long as the end of time, or just a blink of an eye. Life won't give love as easily, like the songs we sing at sunrise, the stories and the starlight. My intuition lies. How could I believe it's true? mistakes I went through. I can't be sure this time, but the things you've gone through makes me want to tell you I'm in, even if it's nothing.
So that whole section, I mean, as you can see, I let it run just because I was just kind of marinating in what you were doing there. So I definitely, you know, I definitely see the vibe and the mood that you're in, especially, and it's really the tone of your voice and the way you're delivering your voice. You've got a certain confidence of knowing where you're headed artistically and artist wise. And if you're struggling with that, it's really hard to notice if you are struggling, because there's this level of confidence in having to sing that light. And what I mean by that is sometimes, you know, people will try to overcompensate by either just singing really loud or belting out certain things, but it's actually harder to get a character or just even the overall tone and vibe with singing lighter or lighter delivery. So I like the timbre and the tone of your voice, very light, and so the instrumentation is also accompanying that really well. So I thought you made a good selection there with just the Rhodes and got that old kind of bossa nova type of feel. My thing is just that the actual preset or the actual sound of the electric Rhodes, it's a little cheapish, not cheap like in a cool indie way, just cheap in the sense where it's just like it's just not there. So might even try like using an EQ to take a little bit of the high end off, and that'll warm up that sound a little bit. Maybe just a little too bright. I like the minimalistic approach to this. It's really cool because there's a lot happening here. Now when you dive right into that chorus, I'm in. I think again now the instrumentation, it's almost it's not all the way there yet. So it's just hard to put my finger on it. It's just like when you go to the I'm in. I almost wouldn't want you to because you're going higher in that timbre. I'm in. I would almost like have one vocal where it's still just I'm in, just there, kind of almost in the same tone that you're doing the verses in, and then have that other high one going the I'm in. I'm trying to do it. I just probably sound like that dying giraffe I mentioned earlier. So yeah, you can do that. Just kind of experiment with what that would sound like. Let me just give that section one more listen to kind of just help articulate what I'm trying.
But if we both makes me want to tell you I'm in, even if it's nothing. But if we find something.
So that section, it's really like the dry small vocal it's cute. It works well in the verses because the minimalistic approach. But now since you're adding some more production to it, leaving the vocal the same way doesn't work. It almost feels, it almost like reveals the demo-ish vibe of the vocal, if that makes any sense. So as you start to incorporate more production, you also have to see how does it balance out with the way the vocal is being presented. So if I start to add a big 808 and some drums and some more stuff to it, you can now start to affect that vocal so that it fits in that landscape, in the sense where there's going to be maybe just a little bit of verb, with some high end cut off with an EQ, so it's this warm reverb on there, some doubles on there. So try even doing forward lead takes, pan left, pan right, 2 to the left, 2 to the right, and tuck them, meaning bring them down in the volume so that they're there, but they fluff up the vocal and give it the support that it needs. And that's what I'm talking about there. Also a little bit with the production side, the 808, and this could very well be just like more of the mixing thing, but the 808 could use just a little bit more attack. It's just a bit wide in the sense of what I mean by that. So just a little bit more punchier, and so we'll go ahead and keep moving through here.
Something, boy, you know that I'm in. Even if it's nothing.
Okay, so even the way you're performing the I'm in, so you wanna attack that with a little bit more swag. And what I mean by that is, if you've got the count 1, 2, 3, 4, I'm in. Do wanna fool it. So you got that do. So that second note is more staccato and a lot more shorter. And guys, when you're performing vocals, when you do that, you gotta think. It's hard when you're doing your own stuff, your own production, and then your own writing, and then your own vocals, right? You get already at that point, you're kind of spread thin. So take some time to initiate the same amount of practice that you're putting on all the other areas. If you're coming from the opposite end, singer-songwriter, and then you're trying to produce, try just doing tracks where you're only making instrumentals, no vocals on it, and just beefing up that practice. So engaging with this, it's all about that swag. It's all about, I'd rather get the right pocket or the right feel than the right pitch. So so just give me a little bit of that confidence that I sensed in the verses. And this is why this is so important. In the verses, there was this level of confidence because it was minimal production, so the vocal was anchored in the front, and it gave me that, oh wow, it's cute, it's minimal, it's got this thing, even though you're not trying to be that cute feel, but it's very got this indie vibe to it. But then as we moved to the chorus and things got a little bit bigger, the vocal needed to step up with the production side as well. So I hope this is making some sense.
Been out in your arms, but I holding down my hopes inside, even if I know that I'm in, even if it's nothing.
So a lot of great ideas, a lot of great potential here. Love the little kind of cool thing there, adding it. Just overall, maybe taking a revamp of the production. It's like the minimal production was great to the verses, and then we start to see as you start heading in and adding more that it needed to match the standards. So you might want to strip it, keep it minimal all the way through, or kind of get that balance fit out right. There's a lot of roominess still being detected in some of the vocal delivery, and what I mean by that is like just the overall acoustics in the room that your mic is capturing. So be mindful of where you're recording. You want to get the microphone away from some walls. If you've got a small little room to work with, try to be as much in the middle as possible. The vocal production course could help you with those. But all in all, I think there's some great potential here. And you could definitely take what I'm saying, not to take it too personally, but I hope this is helpful and encouraging to helping you go from good to great with your upcoming stuff. So that'll wrap up for this Beat Critique video. I hope this was helpful for everyone watching and for all of you out there, and I'll see you on the next one.